we have Ambassador Build 002. Now, Ambassador 002 is owned by none other than Anthony Groves. Now, Anthony's context is a house of worship, and so this guitar was developed with that in mind. Originally, we were talking about doing a black finish on this guitar or a natural thin finish on it where all of the ash wood grain would show through, and because a lot of other people were doing these really cool finishes, him and I were discussing what would be the coolest thing to really add to the mix. And so I thought that we could do something cool like a white sparkle. Now, the white sparkle finish, once again, was a finish that I wasn't really sure how I was going to shoot. And I just decided to say yes and do it because, again, I was in the mood of saying yes. And so what we ended up with is this. And this finish is super cool because overall, it required more flake than you would think it actually did. So instead of Jimmy's 5 metal flakes, this one actually took 4. And the way that I basically approached this was I wanted something that had a lot of detail and then still looked really cool from afar. And so we've got the same 2 sizes of chrome metal flake that's in here, the fine and ultra fine. And we also have 2 types of iridescent metal flake. And so instead of like thinking like super iridescent, it's very subtle. You have to look at it for a little bit. So there's a little bit of iridescent green, a little bit of iridescent pink in there, and it gives it this really cool like depth that, depending on how the light is hitting it, makes it look even like more grandiose in person than what you can even see online. And so really happy we ended up going with a cool finish like that. It is a very interesting guitar to say the least, and so very classy overall and just super usable. So going from the top again, chrome locking tuners on every build. We have, instead of a painted headstock, we actually have the maple showing through, which is a really nice touch. Really contrasts nicely against the reverse headstock. And fun fact, Anthony was the one that was like, dude, I really want to like partner with you and collaborate on a build. I just can't do the reverse headstock. And I remember thinking, oh man, am I going to do this? Like, am I really going to switch the design? And looking at the core of kind of how I felt about what these guitars ought to be, I realized a request like that is worthy of considering and changing because you want a guitar that feels natural to the player and feels like it's going to do what you want it to do. And so I chose for Anthony to do a non-reverse. And so Anthony's was the first one that I was like, yeah, we're going to do that. And then word got out they were doing a non-reverse as I was releasing designs. And everybody was like, I want a non-reverse headstock. And so here we are. I think we have a near 50-50 split. Yeah, it is 50-50 split down the middle. Non-reverse and reverse. So pretty fun little tidbit of info there. We have 1046 NYXLs on this one. We have, instead of a tung oil finish, we actually went with a satin nitro. And so this is a little bit more glossy overall, and it looks really awesome in pictures. It really highlights the beauty of the wood, and it looks super mesmerizing. So really love that. And it actually feels pretty good too. For a satin finish as opposed to a high gloss, it feels really good. For the fretboard, we went with an ebony board, and this one has mother of pearl inlay, so mother of pearl side dots, mother of pearl dot inlay on the top, and we went with medium stainless steel frets, and so this is a very nice, very approachable guitar for most people. Neck carve on this is more of a modern C, and so it's slightly more thin than your 60s vintage C. Slightly less shouldered. They're very subtle differences. This will probably be one of the necks that feels very close to any modern Strat, any modern off-the-shelf type of 25.5-inch scale length guitar. And so this is a very approachable neck, very easy to get along with. Wouldn't really offend too many people. So feels great, very consistent all the way up. Doesn't really get too chunky up top. Feels really nice, especially with the contoured neck pocket. Moving on from there to the body itself, we have a half guard. Now I have a red tortoiseshell. Half guard on here. Anthony has ordered a dark tortoiseshell as well, and so we have a few different colors to choose from. A lot of these guitars will end up shipping with multiple pick guard options, just so guys can kind of change up how they look without getting too crazy. And again, not too integral to the guitar itself, so very easy for anyone themselves to just switch out that pick guard and get a whole new look. Over here, we have a three-way switch. Once again, we have a master volume, master tone using an orange drop cap, 0.22 microfarads. We have the Bigsby B5 vibrato. Very cool, very useful, very classic. Tone Pros roller bridge, again, very common combination, very useful, very musical. And in the pickup department, we have Peg City's 59 repros. These are really great PAFs. This is through and through, they are true blue PAF pickups, and they sound super dynamic, but without getting too flubby and too, I find that Chris has done a really great job of doing the vintage Les Paul thing with these. And of all the different pickups I've tried, these really nailed down that sound, and so I'm really happy with these, and I think the guys that ordered these will be really happy with them as well. We don't have split coils on this one. This is a very nice setup, very Les Paul-y with neck, both, bridge position on the switch. And so very cool, very useful overall.